All right, we are going to continue forward with our TUI app where we left off. This is what we're working on is the TUI, the remastered one, because the first one was horrid, but I mean it was okay. But this remastered one definitely works much better. So where do we leave off at? Let's head over to here. I think we were rendering like the left. We had rendered our input and rendered our left channels here. What I want to do in this set of videos is actually get Redis kind of up and running with some data in it, and get those system channels that we can subscribe to going. Okay, the ones that allow us to listen for the events, to update our nick list and our channels list. Now that you have an idea of like the rendering process, let's actually bring in the data so that we can actually get that done. So Redis does not by default have like these system channels set up that you can subscribe to. So you have to configure it. So what we're going to do is this is on the development server that we're on, and I'll show you where we left off. We have our channels here, but nothing in it yet, and we have our input, right? We finished this, and we got that going. So let's get Redis going, or configured at least. And what we'll do is, oops, that's the wrong thing there. That's a front end stuff. Let's open Redis, all right? And we're gonna make a note in here. I'm gonna paste a bunch of notes of what we need to do. Okay, so we have that above there. This is just a good thing to know about because it's pretty awesome. All right, so here we go. So in our config file, like our Redis config, actually I think we can do that like right from here. We can take a look at it. We're gonna go look for this notify key events thing in our Redis config. We have to enable it, and I believe it's the KLENG flags that we want there. I'm going to double check that on my current system, the one that's actually working, but I believe that's it. We'll try that anyways, and if we need to update some, we'll do that. So if you have Redis installed, which like I can do Redis CLI there, and I know that it's installed, we can say vi/etc Redis/Redis config, I believe. Yeah, there's the conf, right? So let's go modify this. So we're in VI now. I want to say, so I'm going to do a slash just to search, and I'm going to paste this thing in here. Okay, this notify key events thing. Then I'm going to hit enter so that it takes me to that line, and now I can actually modify this here. So see this notify key events flag there? It's going to have two quotes in there. And then what we want to do is get rid of that and paste in this KLENG. And I left a key of what all of these do, but it's basically the ones that we need in order to listen to the events that we need, like keys added or deleted. I don't think we're technically doing that one. We're more listening to this list commands. So, but at the same time, this is what I found got going was setting this to these flags here. Okay, so that's gonna, you know how you can in Redis subscribe to channels, like you can define a channel, subscribe to it, and get a pop up thing going to anyone subscribe to it. Well, Redis underneath the hood has that for system, like a system bus. Like when events happen, a key is deleted, a list is edited, or something's removed from it. There's actually system channels you can listen to if you enable it, like we're doing, that can actually post out to anyone who subscribes to that. So that's what we're going to do is subscribe to system channels to listen to those events. Okay, now that that's in there, I'm just going to right quit on that, and just service Redis restart just in case. I'm not sure if you actually have to do that. I think possibly, but at least you can do that. Now in the notes, you can do it just at the CIL level, like this says here, CLI config set, and it'll only stay active during that session. But if the way we did it, it'll stay active through restarts because it's now in your comp file. Okay. So this is a description of what we enabled. We did the K. So let me add a K in there. So K, let me add that on my notes over here too. I don't know why I didn't add that in there. There we go. It's better. Okay, so the KELNG flags. Okay, so I'll kind of describe what we told Redis to listen to and open up system channels for. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go and actually add some channels to our Redis system. First off, let's do Redis CLI. Just want to say flush. We're gonna start fresh, flush all. Okay, so we should have nothing as far as keys, but we can start adding to our channel here. So I want to R push to channels, an element, and we're just gonna give it outworld. We'll R push our push pushes to the end of the list. So I'm just kind of doing that order so that so that the channels will show up in the order that I want. Let's do it the same as the other system over here. So let's take a, whoops, I don't know what the hell, socket closed unexpectedly. Yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, when we restarted Redis. So let's see here. So Outworld API dev, like we'll just create the same channels, output, so channels, API dev. You can make up your own, and then we'll R push. And then Linux, you know, and you can add more if you want to. Okay, cool. So so now we have that. What we'll do is chan state the channels await L range channels. So we actually can do that now, and see if it works. So we have our channels, right? Instead of console logging Redis connected, let's do this. We're gonna get the channels and assign it to state. As soon as Redis connects, let's go grab our channel data. We'll say state.data.chans equals await L range channels, okay? And that should get us all of our channels. Maybe we could even console log that just to see for now, before we try to check. Well, it may actually render it, but we have to add the update for the we're gonna modular render. We don't have that set up yet, but what we're gonna call is, we'll do this. So let's go do this. We'll say state.emit a modular render. We'll go create that. So we're gonna have an event that can take an array and update multiple things. But we can also create, we'll say instead of modular render, we'll say update channels for now, because I don't need that one there. And then we'll also push our list here. So we'll say, okay, and then we'll R push to a nick list. So the same thing we did for channels, we're gonna create a nick list in Redis with like this RSID as our nickname. So when you open it either from the terminal or the web, it pushes into that list in Redis for nicknames. So Redis is gonna have two lists: channels and the nick list. The nick list is gonna have things coming in and out all the times. The channels, there's no way to really change it yet unless you do it through the CLI, but you could easily add that functionality later. So that's it, and I believe that should actually just kind of work. Let's just exit out of this and just we'll clear this and say node. Okay, and as you can see, we haven't patched this up yet. We actually have our channels now. I don't think our up and down arrow keys are working yet, like as far as changing that, so let's work on that next. So I'm going to bring this down and then we'll go patch up that. So now that we have these channels, we want to be able to cycle through them, right? So let's go do that. In our state or our input, we're sending that over to our state is handling that. That's right. So our state is intercepting these arrow keys, right? So let's get this all hooked up. This is going to be kind of like a lot of code that does some weird stuff, but how did I change it in here? Oh yeah. Okay. Let's go say, so in our state, this is what we'll do. Process, where's the arrows? Mod arrows, there it is. I always lose that function. Okay, so here we go. What we're gonna do is switch on the arrows and left and right. So, so let's take care of this first, and we'll end this switch thing here. Then we'll just do a default break down here. Okay, so what we're saying is if the arrow equals left or right, well, that will actually switch the tabs. We haven't actually got that in there yet, so we're going to just break on those two for now. Right now what we need is the up and down working. Okay, so we'll say case up, and then we'll fall through to case down, right? So, and then we'll just break here. Okay, so if the arrow is up or is down, it's going to be one of those two. Then we want to do something down here, right? So we're going to let our tab we're going to need this for later, equal to state.ui.tabs, which is like, just pay attention up here, state.ui.tabs, this array here with this index. So it should be channels, right? Right now we don't have a way to change that, so that's good. It works out, so we can modify, we can do our up and down. So based on where that tab index is, it pipes the up and down arrow, like the up and down stuff will select from that list. So because channels is defaulted as the 0 and is selected first, we can use our up and down arrow keys. Okay, so we're going to say state.ui.tabs is going to, we're just going to grab like that, the name of that, what it is, state.ui.tabi, right? Like that tab index, it should equate to channels. Okay, so and then we're going to say, we'll just do a quick check here just to validate that, like it's in it's either one of the two that we want our arrows to work in. We don't want our up and down arrows to do anything unless they're in a panel that allows for that to happen. So we'll just say if channels or nick list dot includes basically the tab, means yes, if we're either on this panel or this panel, then we want to do some stuff, right? So we're going to want a key here. Like I'll explain what this is. So we're going to say let key equal the tab, the channel. It'll get these first four characters from here, or the first 4 characters from here, right? And we're so that we can modify the state data based off that key. Okay. So what we can say here is, now that we've grabbed the first 4 characters of whatever this tab is, we can now start modifying our state data with that key. So we'll say, we'll do this. It's always going to be up or down, right? So we can say, is it the up one? If it is, set the state to the previous item. Set the channels list to the previous item with this keys plus S. So that's going to equate to our array key here, okay? And the index key is going to be this key I here, okay? So remember, we're passing in an array key and an index key to figure out where the next selection is going to be in there. Okay, so that's how previous item is getting that array key and index key dynamically. It's grabbing the first 4 bytes of what, or first 4 of whatever these are, and passing them in with the appended S or I for each particular one. Could do that functionality technically right in here, but I'm like keeping this a little cleaner. Maybe might help with like seeing what's going on here. So we'll just grab it and do that functionality here. Okay. Same thing with the next item. They both either do one of the same things. Move the index up or down when and it rolls around, right? So that's all that is. Oh yeah, then we're gonna render whatever this is. So okay, so remember, when we do change something, we need to re-render that or reformat that screen. So we can do something like this. Okay, sends a re-render request to the nick list or channels. Remember, this tab is either going to be nick list or channels, right? Whatever that tab is, and we have it in here. It could be other tabs, but nothing's going to happen unless it's one of these two. If it is one of those two, and we're obviously moving up and down, we want to re-render it. So technically don't need this modular, well, we don't know what one it's going to be, so we actually do need this. So we're going to go create this modular re-render on the front end. I don't think we've done that yet, but so we have this on input update, right? Let's go re-render. Let's go create that. So the modular render will look like this. We can also create our buffers and channels update, even though we don't have those yet. We'll put these in here. So we're gonna have like input buffers update, channels update, and input update. Okay, so should have a nick list update too, but we could create it. That's weird. How'd I get like that? Oh, I think I know why. Let's actually do this. Yeah, there we go. So there's our events to fire each one individually. Input buffers, channels. Let's do nick list too. We'll just add like a nick list update, but even though I'm not sure, we'll say nick nick list update, okay, and we'll change this to nick list here. That way we have one if we need it for each section. I don't think I actually used it in there, but now we need a modular one that kind of takes any dynamic stuff or an array of one to and to update multiple ones. Okay, so what we'll do is cycle through, like we'll pass an array. It could be index update and channels update in this array, and if it's in that array, we'll fire each individual one here. So we have channels, buffers. I don't really need the input update in this one because it kind of has its own, and it does its own thing based on the input, and not like these three will re-render based on the input, and input will re-render itself from the input stuff. So we're going to leave that one out of the modular one right now, because we'll, you know, it's already doing what it needs to do. Okay, so one other thing we need to add to our main system thing here is when we do exit, like let's call, like if there's any other kind of signal term, we can say process on exit. We'll just fire our term exit here, okay? Or if there's a sigint, term exit, sig terminate exit. And if you remember from the WebSocket, we actually fired this to cause this to fire and actually delete the nickname that we had put in there from this application. So from the WebSocket, when it closes, it actually fires a sig term on the process attached to the WebSocket. Okay, so in all of these cases here, we just want to fire our term exit to kind of clean the exit. So that we have that, there's a couple other things we can actually put in here as far as let's do this. We're gonna have a couple more events, like a tab change event is gonna render all. So, or a theme update. Let's actually put the theme update below this. It looks a little cleaner. I'm gonna do that on my other system too, just cause here. So OCD. So there we go. So these other two, like we will call the render all function if any of these two get fired, and we have that event. So we'll get to that. So let's see now that we have all of the possible events in from our main system, like our main entry point, like all the events that could happen in rendering setup. Like we haven't wired up a lot of these yet, or even rendered these yet. We'll but we will. At least those are done. So let's finish up with our state stuff here, like where we actually try to change the this. So this channel selection here, let's just not fire this right away or write anything to the screen so we don't mess up our output, but it will get fired, and we're going to do that now. Like when we change channels, we're going to fire channel selection changed and do some things with that. And you'll see why, because we need to subscribe or unsubscribe based on that channel change. So that's why we fire that once that we change the channel in the list. So there we go. So now we have this modular render where we send in either nick list or channels. Okay. So it'll say, hey, it's in this array, even though there's one thing in the array, I'm going to modularly render that one particularly. So that's what that one's doing. And I believe that's kind of all we need for the up and the down arrow keys to work. Let's see if we can actually get that to work. So there you go. So I'm hitting the down arrow and you can see that cycling through, and now I'm hitting the up arrow and you see that cycling through, right? And at the all of this while it's firing that channel selection change. So now we can subscribe or not subscribe based on that. Okay, so now we have that going on. Let's actually wire up our left and right changes so we can hit the tab change here. So we'll do, this is a real simple one, so hopefully this makes sense how these fall through. Like it's in the case that the arrow is an up or down, we're going to fall through to this, right? It's only ever going to be, if it's not up, then it must be down. So we'll do this one. If it's up, we do this one. That's what that syntax is there. Same idea is going to be for this, right? We want to be able to switch between our tabs here. So all we're going to do is fall through for left and right. Like we're not breaking on this. That's what I mean on the left. We want to for both of these cases, we want to render this code here. Okay, for both of those cases, we're going to say tab change. And for both of those cases, we want to say, is it the left one? Do the previous tab. If not, do the next tab. Okay, so in theory, let's just try and run this And what we should be able to do is actually say, like, there you go. So you can see input light up. I have to do it 4 times because the other two don't exist yet, but you can see where it's bouncing between the channels title there and the input title. So now our tabbing works with the left and right arrow keys. So all we have to do is render the other two panels, and now our tabbing should work. Okay, so that's that. Um, okay. Yeah, we're just not going to do anything with this one yet. We don't even use that in this system, but it's there in case you have other systems. And that's all this is. It's like a framework to start like building other systems. It could do anything. Um, so let's keep going. Like we're gonna need our um out here. Let's get all of our stuff actually rendered. This is where we left off with the last one was rendering our stuff, right? So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. So we rendered our input. We have our render all function, which renders all of these. Of course, the buffers and nick list aren't rendered yet. But now that you know how like the left channel stuff work, it's going to be almost identical in here. Okay, a little bit of math, like where we're starting and changing. So let's go ahead and get that rendered. So for our channels, like our nick list, I'm going to kind of try and go through this a little quicker, but it's a lot like this one, right? So our nick list is just a little bit of math to get it over to the right. Okay, so we're going to bring in our rows columns, our theme colors. The height's going to be the same, rows -3. Math up floor, it's going to be 1. It's going to be like, 1/6 the width, right? But we're going to set a position X on this one, which is basically the columns -1. So we have all of these columns, like the position X is how far left, right? So we have, say we have 200 columns, and then we have a chunk of 1/6. We're saying from 200 minus 1/6, which would be the width, that should set our start position, and then we want +1 to actually enter the correct thing there. That should set our start position at exactly this position right here. So we have all of these columns minus 1/6 will put us here, and then +1. Okay, so that's how we end up right here at position X to start rendering our nick list, right? So that's what that does. Now that we have that, let's do the same kind of thing. All of this is going to be the same as up here. We'll just pop this in here. We're going to move to that position X. Call row 1 position X now. So now we're over to the right, our title, and we're just going to render our title based on the selection like we did up there. Like, is this the selected tab? Render it light or dark. And then we'll write our title out there and actually see real quick, and then we'll do our for loop. So we'll do like this, and you can see that our nick list has started to render over here. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So let's kill this. Okay, where were we? Nick list here. So now we just have to do the for loop that renders all that other stuff, right? We'll write our bottom row real quick just to get that out of the way. And remember, same kind of idea. We're going to move to the height and position X this time. So that should set us at our bottom position down here and write that line out. Okay, so we'll write the bottom left horizontal bar, and then repeat the width -2, and then our bottom right border there. Okay, now we just do our for loop to fill in the rest and whether or not a nick is selected or if we even have nicks. And that is the same exact code, just with a few, as like the channels list, just with a few variables changed. Okay, so we're going to say our start row is going to be at row 2, and we're going to loop through the height -2 for the top and bottom row, and then we're going to move to those positions, which is going to be the start row plus I. Like if it's 0, we're starting at 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 at position X. So it's over here, and then bum 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 bum, right? So our nickname is going to be like, we're going to go look for nicks. We're going to say if it exists, let's add the nick plus some padding in here. Okay, and then if it exists, that nickname will have that padding on there, or it'll be just nothing. And then based on whether or not it exists, is it the selected nickname? If both of those things, if there is a nick at that index, and if there is a nick that's selected at an index, and they equal each other, let's format it light or just render the text. nickname dark, which we don't need to render the dark code on there because it's already written. We only modify to light and then go back to dark usually, so that we don't have to keep, separate those two. When we go from light to dark, I always try to keep them right around what they're doing. Okay, so now we have that line. We could start rendering our nicks and repeat again the nickname length minus +2. So it's the width minus nickname length +2, right? And then we have vertical bar and terminal dot right line. Was that a 3 up here? No, +2 up there. Okay, great. So there we go. Yeah, so there we go. So in theory, our nicknames, actually, I think that's all that we should be in here. So all this does is render the in between. Render the in between nicks. Okay. All right, so let's go and drop into here, and you can see here that we now have our nick list over there. We have not done anything to request a nick list like we did in for the channels yet, right? So we haven't listened to our subsystems yet or asked what are the nicks assigned to this, right? When we sign on or open this, it actually adds one to the Redis system every time right now. We're not deleting it either. But we can actually, now that that's wired up in our input here, let's kill this. And let's take a look at our input where we actually exit. Make sure that, so we can say, why am I not seeing that in here? That slice. Tech on Control C. It should be term.exit. My bad. That's right. Okay. Yes. So when we Control C, that's right. The term.exit is what I was looking for. My bad here. So that's where the nick list, we are actually getting rid of it. So await Redis client.lm remove. So when we Control C or the process like exit from another way, this usually gets called and then removes that nick that we had, that RSID. So we're adding it now and deleting it on exit. That's good. That's what we want. So I want to make sure that that line was in there. So that's taken care of now at that point. So clear this. Let's go take a look here and just see how we can actually wire up to those system channels now in Redis. So in Redis, let's actually start to listen to events of nicks being added or channels being added and removed, even though that's not a functionality from the UI yet. The nick list should be. So this is where things get fun for Redis, okay? So what we can do, well, before we do that, what we do want to see, let's actually just render our last panel because this is going to be writing to that last panel. We want to see that output. So let's get our panel here so that we actually have our full UI. So we'll just do that real quick and then move on from here. So we'll go back to we'll go kill this. Let's go back to our output here, or this here. So render, we are in the render buffers function, right? Let's actually do that. And this one has a little caveat of its own, not a caveat, but like a little innuendo thing that's kind of particular to it that I'd like to explain anyways. So in here, we're going to render buffers. Basically, I'm just going to grab all this kind of same stuff because a lot of it does all the same thing. And before you render each section, you need to kind of tell it what to do here. I like these modular, you may see some repetitive code here, but I want to be able to have those things available to me in each render section when it gets, so I can render them kind of individually. Okay, so we're getting all the same stuff. Our height is going to be the same as the other ones, just rows -3. Now this is where things are going to be a little different. So we're going to have this extra thing here. Remember, we did the other two as 1/6 of the screen, right? And then it's possible that there could be like a little bit of overflow with a division of 6. You could have like a point something, right? So we want to grab whatever that extra is from dividing by 6. Okay, it could be like a little bit of remainder, right? It's not a full 1/6, but a little bit of a 1/6, right? And then what we're saying is in that center panel, we're going to say let the width equal 4/6. So we're going to grab 1/6 of the screen, multiply it times 4, so that's width 4. Remember, these are 2 over here, so we have 2 of the 6. Now we have 4, but it's very possible that that divided by 6 could have a little extra. So we don't want like a gap on the side of our screen or like a little gap in here. We're going to add that extra bit into our center panel so that like these two are always the same, look nice, and then that center panel kind of like goes like this to fit in there nicely. Okay, now remember the position X for this one is 1/6 over, so we're going to say columns divided by 6 will give us 1/6 to the left plus 1 to start us at where we need to start. And what I mean by that is it's the columns divided by 6 will give us to about here, and then we need to plus 1 to get to this starting point. So that's what that does for the buffers. Okay, so that's the only like little tricks for this one, and why that all that stuff is there. Okay, and then you can see that we move to position X, okay, which with that plus 1, and our starting row is that. So now we can actually write our title for our stuff here, which would be the buffers. Okay, so let's write that out, and then what we're going to do is just write our bottom bar there, and then we'll take care of the center. The center is going to be a little easier for this one because we don't have like, you're not selecting anything like an up and down selection. It's just like what's in the messages really. So we're still doing that loop to go from line to line, and just highlight the message and change its color, and then the 2 vertical bars, but there's no up and down selection in that, so we don't really have to check for that in this one, but we still got to have a loop in there. So let's go see if that renders here. We can do like this, and now you can see, let's do it over here actually. We'll go render this, and now you can see we have our top line and our bottom line in here. Okay, so it's still gonna screw up any like resizing events in here because like we haven't told it to re-render that at all yet, or there's no render lines for these center lines, but that's what we're going to take care of now. But you can see how like building TIs can get tricky, all the re-renders stuff. You gotta like figure out what needs to be re-rendered or what got dirty, they call it. So okay, so there's that. So let's go render that now, like all this center stuff for our buffers. And remember, like in our state we could have messages coming in, so that's what's going to be between our 2 bars is the possible message I, message I, message I. So that's how we calculate what this message thing is going to look like here. So we'll come back into here, and now we start our for loop here, right? And we'll just do that for this buffer stuff. Okay, so same kind of idea. We'll set our start row, which is at 2, 1 below the first line, and our height is going to be -2, which for that first line there and that one there. So we're only going to loop the amount of lines in between there, and then we're going to set our start row always whatever I is to this start row number here, so that we always end up at the right next line. So message, we're going to check to see if a message exists at that line. If it does, then we're going to return and set that message to a little spacing so that we have a little space in that line. And what I mean by that is that we have that space there. If it exists, if this message exists, write a little space, then the message, and then we'll repeat some empty stuff plus the vertical bar. Okay, and that's what we're doing here. We're saying vertical bar, the formatted message with the color. So we add a little color to it, go back to dark, then we repeat the rest of the width minus message length plus 2, which is for the first 2 there. Why does that feel wrong to me? Message length plus width, that is going to be, oh, the width, yeah, that should be 3, shouldn't it? Oh no, it's not. Okay, yes, I have to keep doing that math in my head for some reason. Yeah, to see where it visually ends up, and that will that message length plus the 2 will put us at the very end where we can draw our last thing there. That's why. So I think, I mean, it turns out nice. So yeah, there we go. And then we're gonna write that line. There we go. So turn that right line. Sometimes you have to like run the code in your head to see what the hell it's doing. Okay, but that's it. So that should finish our our UI anyways. Let's just go test this out over here and see if we actually get um like our full UI. And we do. So that looks good. Do we get a nice resize? Yes, we do. So now our code's working. We have this. We should be able to tab through our stuff now. If we write a message, nothing's going to happen yet. We haven't hooked that up. Really, that's all dealing with Redis at this point. We haven't grabbed our Nick list stuff yet either. But that's kind of the last part at this point. So we have like, we can't send the messages stuff. Well, we still got to process that as well. But yeah, so that's it. So our UI is up and running. So let's actually get our stuff going for the Nick list and the buffer stuff here. We can actually write out to this now with system messages, anything we want to. We can add to that messages stuff and it should get rendered here. So we can go to the channels. That's working beautiful. Awesome. So let's come back over to here. We'll pop this down. We're gonna we'll possibly have a bunch of nicks on our Nick list, but whatever, unless the deletion's working as it should. But okay, so where are we now? We are gonna go back to our Redis stuff here, and then we're gonna start modifying this to handle like the messages stuff. So once Redis is ready, we can actually push that message out to our system here. We'll say if once Redis is ready, push out this system Redis is ready thing. So now we'll see that. We'll see that in this messages thing here, right? Okay, so now we want to be able to remember when we enabled those system messages, we want to be able to subscribe to those system messages. So we want to say anytime like there's a list remove event, let's handle that, okay? And then anytime there's a we'll do like, see, there's a dog. I don't know if you can hear the dog barking in the background, but sorry about that. Anytime there's like a remove event from a list, whether it's Nick list or the channels, we want to subscribe to that and update our front end. Okay, so and we can actually, and this is where you see like the we described like those events. So or like what we set our message out room event, that's where you see that. So we're going to say state.data messages, just let our front end know and the user know that, hey, there's a list remove event. Of course, like you wouldn't normally have that, but we're coding, we want to see something happening on our system. We're going to let ourselves know, hey, we got an event. We're going to set our nicks like subscribe to an L if it should have been if that's Nick's. Oh, buffering key. That should have been. We should have checked if that key was a channel. Then we could update the Nicks, but that's okay. Onto the render, depending on what it is. Oh yeah, we didn't do that for the channels either. So I think we did that for the Nicks there. We should also do that depending on the channel. So this is actually got a little bit of a bug in here. So based on that key, so if key equals, we'll say like if key equals like the could do buffers. We'll always update that. Why we have to render the buffers? Unless it's a message. Let's do it. We'll just say if the, well, you know what, for now we'll just leave it at Nicks. Like this, it's possible like this, we want to do this for channels too. We could say like for the channels here, and I want to do it based on whatever one this is. So like if the key equals channels, we'll say we'll render the channel one or Nicks. So we'll do like well, we could just do it like this. If key equals channels, do this, we'll say channels equals await.lrange, the key. Okay, and we could actually do this. We'll just render, we'll do like kind of keep this like this. We'll say state dot key equals await and then lrange that. That way, if it's the Nick list or the channels, we'll do that. If only if, say like if Nick list or channels. Okay, then we'll do this. That includes key. Okay, there we go. That makes more sense. And we'll do the same thing for down there. And then we'll use our modular render to render whatever key that was, like the new thing there. Okay, so there's that. Okay, now when we first come in, we also want to subscribe to a channel. Okay, so when we first load up, let's also subscribe to our first channel there. So we'll say to whatever is in our system there. So we went and said that like there's a system channel that we have, Outworld, right, that we start with. Let's just subscribe to that as soon as we load up, because we know it's like the system channel, right? We want to subscribe to something. Technically you don't have to, but there we go. So what we're going to say is, as soon as Redis starts up, subscribe to whatever the state that channel is. Okay, we're going to change that. That's going to go up and down and change, and we'll unsubscribe from it and change to whatever we did, and we'll handle that logic somewhere else. But at boot, let's first subscribe to that, so that we're subscribed to something right away. But that's kind of it. That's what's going on with this. I want to see that push event 2 in there. So wait, L range on the NICs, modular render, buffers in the NICs. Let's do this. So we'll say state.message our push on event. Believe that this should work. On that key. Okay, cool. So we have that there. See if that works. And it did push that stuff out there. I am not seeing though our NIC list update for some reason. Thought that should at this point be updating, unless did we not? Yeah, so just see your NIC list. So we do subscribe. We push to our NIC list down there. Our state.r update channels. That all looks good. Let's see here. Maybe should be NIC list, right? Oh crap! Yeah, that key is not gonna be right for that. So let's go update our NIC list, because then our chance is gonna be different too. So we'll say, yeah, that's why we had that like that NICs. So we'll do this. L range on the NICs, modular update on that. That's right. The key is gonna be different than what the actual data is there. So we'll update our NICs like this. We'll do the same thing up there, and then we can remove that later on. Actually, we'll figure that out later on. I don't want to just update both of these every time there's a thing there, but the channel key, like the key of data, is different than the actual state data thing. But we can fix that. We could actually yeah, let's do this. Let's keep this the same. Sorry, my bad. So state.message, let's go put this back here. We'll say we'll do our push thing here, and then I know how to fix this, and keep it modular or like dynamic, so that we do, so this does render to the right key here. We can use the same logic that we used in our state stuff here. We'll say, like where we picked off like the four things here, we'll just slice off that from our key here. We'll say let key equal, but it'll be different here. So Redis. So now that we get this, like if this key includes this or this, let's do this. We should say list here. Maybe we can make that list. So we'll say list, but we'll just do this. We'll just say, yeah, we should make this list. It'll make more sense here. We'll say list. Redis list here. So we'll change all of these to a list that we want to update or render. So list corresponds to whatever list here. We'll change this to list. This will make sense here when we're done. And then we'll say we'll add key here for our data key. Do do list and list here. So that should fire our updates. And then we have this here. Let's go grab this let key equal this. So then we were going to get the first four. Is it chans or nicks? Do the same thing in here. Then we want to add that to like this data key here. We'll say, yeah, that looks good. List. Everything is on the list except for the key here, which will be plus slice. Can we just add an S on this like this? Because remember, it's going to be either chans or nicks. So I think we can just slice and then add plus S, but we'll see what happens here. We'll say, oh, didn't like something. Might be this. Okay, probably this key here. Maybe add plus S on this. Let's try this, or plus S on this. Does it not like? What we do wrong? Let's list. Get rid of this here for a minute. Oh, tab.slice. No, we want list.slice. Okay, there we go. So now we have our nick list in here, right? Are we still logged in over here? Yes, we are. Okay, so as soon as we do this, it may. That actually killed it for some reason. So when it tried to update LRUT range on the list, data key S. Oh, plus works up there. Is it not like that? So we have this here. We have one of us in here. Let's see if it actually adds to that list. Worked there, and it worked there. But when we exit, it like kills it. So yes, it does. Why is that? So when we do like an R, like list.slice, what am I missing here? State.data wait L.range this here. Dot list there. Dot nick list dot push LRM event on list. Key plus S. Yeah, it doesn't like this in here for some reason. Nick list channels. What do we do? So I should not do a refactor. Time of whatever. So, okay. It's still killing that. Why is it killing that? Modular render list. Nick list. Oh, we don't have that there, do we? So, hang on. Okay, well, I think you guys get the idea with that. I'm wondering if I should just put it back to the way it was, and then you see where that was supposed to go. But or we could just fix this. The only problem with that is I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out the bug there or why that dies with the nick list update. But where am I trying to get to? Your state, and then we have the. Oh, and then we need to process. We need to get to that there too. So let's do. Oh, is it input? No. Modular update. Modular render nick list. And we have channels. System.render nick list. What if we take this out of here for a minute? I just want to see what's causing that to break over here. I did not update this. Oh, okay. So that's fine. So it's not going to update that. Let's go kill this. Let's kill that. What is going on with that? So we have that. It does kill that. So there's something funky with that. I don't know why it would do that, but it works fine for like the update. Like this actually works right here. Key equals a list. And it's not this. In modular render. Buffers and list. Make list and channels. Let's slice that. What the heck is it doing? Oh. No, that's fine. List, that's why. Damn it. Okay, there we go. That was a problem. You guys probably saw that sitting out there watching me look like an idiot. Okay, clear this. That's the issue there. Okay, cool. So now we have this. I don't know how rendering that. What the hell's going on now? Should be adding that to the Redis list there, but unless we killed Redis somehow. So I'm gonna clear this. Let's update this. What did we just go change out there? Term state. Yes, we did. So now we need to put that back on. And okay. In theory, there we go. Now we got one. It should update it with another when we launch. Now we got our second one. And if we kill this, this should stay alive. And update down there. Okay, there we go. That's good. Where'd this go? All right, moving forward, we are actually almost done. All we actually have to do now is send to like the particular channel we're on and see if we actually get like our messages here. Okay, so let's kill this. What we'll do now is hopefully you guys saw what I was doing there. I'm actually going to copy this onto my main system, like the example system, because I like the way this works better with this. So that's what we're going to do. Give me 2 seconds real quick. I just want to do that because bam, there we go. Like the way that looks or works better. So gosh, I hate going from one. It puts all these weird space in there. Okay, there we go. All right, so now when we're doing messages, so on input, like we have this this input thing here, like in our state, we're saying process like input, right? So and channel selection. So let's fix the channel selection stuff first. Like when we change up and down, remember we get this fired channel selection thing here. Like depending on where we go up and down in that list, if the tab equals channels, we're going to omit a new channel selection. So what we want to do with that is we're actually almost done here. Like in our state, this will look funny here, but we're going to unsubscribe, or so we'll say channel selection, unsubscribe and subscribe to new channels. So we'll say await Redis. I don't know if we need Redis in here. Yes, we need our term, colors, input. Let's just bring input into here. I don't know why we have input brought into here. So input dot, do I even need that in here? Yes, no. That's it. I don't think we need input dot state.data input. Yeah, we don't need the actual input in this one. So we're gonna leave that out. We can maybe comment that out here. Colors we don't need the event emitter. Yes, we do need that. That's up there. And then we just need Redis in here. Yes, that's actually it, I think. So just Redis. So I have colors in there. Yeah, colors, Redis, term, and then utils. Okay, yes, we do want utils as well. So we're going to create this utils thing here. So that's it. So we're going to say, do we have this utils? Yeah. So let's go create that real quick. We're just going to have a utility function there. It's just going to be a real small thing. Okay, so all we're going to do is create a file called utils that we can use. Okay, it's going to take a formatter for date, right? Like, and we can format a date like this for our messages when we get a message from, and then date, right? We're going to add that to like a universal thing so we can reuse functions that are in here, and we'll say format that ISO date. This date that we pass in here, we'll say new date and then format with our formatter. Okay, so when a message, we process a message, we'll create an ISO date, pass into there and format it with this new formatter. This is a new date until formatter thing. It's a new thing, an API. Does real cool things with dates. That's it. We need. That's all we got for our utils function here. Back up to here where we process our input and our state here. Where is it? So yeah, we're okay. So yeah, well, we'll actually use that down here. Well, we're working on the channel selection at this point. So once that channel changes, we want to unsubscribe. We brought in Redis up here, and our utils now. Okay, so we're gonna unsubscribe from Redis, whatever that channel is. The current channel is, which we start on Outworld. Then we're going to say state.messages equals what we sub to this current channel, and then what the new channel is. So we unsubbed from, we unsubbed from the last channel, whatever that channel was. We're going to sub to this new selected channel here. Okay, so well, first we're also gonna let ourselves know we haven't actually done that part of it yet. So let's actually just do that now. So what we'll do is update our buffers. So we'll say emit a buffers update, let ourselves know what we're doing. We're gonna set our new channel in the state. We'll say, okay, set it to this new thing here. Okay, now that we've unsubscribed to that last one, we can set the new one, and then we can subscribe to the new one. So we'll just do kind of the same thing as Redis subscribe. Okay, and I don't know if you know from the last video, you have to use this P client for the subscription and unsubscription stuff, and then the client for all other operations, or your app will freeze if you try to pub sub on the same, or subscribe and unsubscribe on the same channel as your main Redis channel. Okay, so once we subscribe, we're just going to say any new messages that come in on a new channel. Let's do that, and then update the buffers with any new messages. Okay, so now we just need a way to actually send messages and see them, or send messages on the channel. So let's go down to our process input, and I believe this is almost the last thing we need to do, is we will start to process the input, and deal with our themes. We want to be able to change themes, right? Like on this one, keep seeing like if we launch this, the other thing we need to do, and that's what we're doing now, is be able to set our theme like this, like red. Okay, because that's fun. So oh, I should have put this before the date. I don't like that. Actually, that didn't look bad. But yeah, we're gonna format that message anyway. That's at this point, and you'll be able to see where to change that. Okay. So the theme stuff, let's just take care of that. I'm gonna paste this in here. We're gonna process our input, right? Like that's being sent, like we're sending that message. Like when we hit enter, we fire this event right here. Okay. So what we're gonna say is, are we setting we'll say, are we setting a new theme? If the input that starts with /theme, let's get the second part, like the part 2, we'll split it by a space there, and it should be a new theme. We should actually validate like if it's in that palette list. Otherwise, it's gonna be. Let me see if I have that whole array somewhere else, because yeah, it'll fail if we don't actually do that. So let me just see if I got that palette list array somewhere. But what we can do is we'll do this. We'll take all these colors real quick, and we'll say, well, actually there it is. Yeah, we'll grab all this, and we'll hit up this is what ChatGPT is good for. We'll just say, turn this into a string. An array of strings, single line, and then we'll copy that, and now we can say, let's go back to our state here where we're doing a bunch of stuff. So let's say let palettes, we could even do that in UI. We'll say let palettes. Is that the right spelling of that? I don't know. And we'll do this. Okay, so so that's just part of our thing here. So we could say or themes, actually UI themes. We'll do this. say UI themes. If part, so when we're trying to change a theme, we want to make sure that it's part of that. So if part one, if state dot UI dot themes includes parts one, which should be one of these, we'll say if not, we're just going to return. Okay, we won't do anything, or we could even leave a message in our messages, but yeah, parts one. So parts one there. So state UI themes includes this. If it doesn't include this, basically that's what that not is right there. So we're saying if our themes doesn't include this, then just return, don't do anything else. If it does, let's set our new theme. So you'll see state.theme, and if it does not equal the current theme. So theme we're assigning to like that parts one, whatever we type after /theme, we're saying if it doesn't equal our current theme, and we actually have this value here, like if this exists in our colors, then do something. I guess that was a check I was relying on before, but I'd rather check that it actually exists first within an array, which is this, what this does here. So both of these kind of do the same thing, but anyways, I like this whitelist thing here first. Okay, so then we just say we set our new foreground, our medium based off like whatever that key is, like this theme. Well, we could use theme right here. We could say theme instead of parts one actually. So we'll say, well, yeah, we'll leave that parts one. So you could, I'll make a note of that you can use theme or parts one here. Okay, they both equal the new theme, and then we set our new colors down here like 8, 11, and 12, and you can mess with those. 8, 11, and 12 to change it darker or lighter depending on how you want your themes to look. So that's what that part is there, and then we're going to set our what the hell is that? Why is that there? Oh, okay, yeah. So if we have a valid theme, just, well, we can just, okay, input update, input turn theme update. Okay, that's going to render everything. Okay, so if we have a valid theme, set our input to nothing and then render everything. That's going to re-render everything. Just return and re-render everything. That'll re-render our input. If it's not a valid theme, just update the input. We'll set our input to this, and do our thing there. But we technically could get this out of here once we have our parts here. Our input is split. We can just say, like instead of having this in both two places there, we say set our input to, we'll do this, state.input equals this now. We don't really need it. And then just return like that, and then our input's already set there, so we'll do something like that. Either just emit this input update or a theme update based on whether or not we have a valid theme. Okay, now we need to process our message, right, and send it to the correct channel. So this is state.input. We're going to say else. What we want to do is else we'll enter this process message thing up there. So we don't want, when we're processing input, we don't want this really to be async right here. But we can call an external function, so it's just another pattern here. So in there, we're going to remember, we're going to get a date for our message. Okay, so we're just going to process this input and send in the, oh, okay, this is an else, so we didn't change. Okay, yeah, we haven't set our input to this yet. Okay, so we're going to process this message, send it up here so we can process it, but at the same time we're going to set the input back to nothing and then emit input update to re-render it back to nothing while we process. So now after we're re-rendering our input back to nothing, and now we're processing our message here. Okay, so all we have to do, and I think that's like the last thing, is this is well, we already did that. So is construct our message here. So our message is going to come in, right? Like as what we typed in and hit enter with, but then we're just going to mod that variable and stick like the ISO date and like who it's from right there. So that's what that you're seeing as a RSID stuff and the date. That's how that's getting constructed, okay? Is like this. So we're going to format a new date using our utils, and then we're going to publish to the current channel that we're on. Okay, state.channel. So you can see that in right here. All right, so yes, we have like we could use this channel line chancing, but we want to remember what the last channel we were on as, and that's kind of what this channel was here. Is like what's the last channel, we can use that as a current channel, and it will always change to whatever this is there, and then so we can unsubscribe and then subscribe to the new one and just keep a record of what we're currently at right in this thing here. So this will always correspond to whatever this is here. So that's it. So we can actually like test all this theory now of like setting a theme and our input stuff, like process a message. Like when we hit enter, does it send to an actual channel? Can we actually talk now? Is the thing. So let's actually test that out. We'll go start our app here. Oops. Where is this? State on 125. Did I change something there? State on 125. Oh, I did, because I was about to change that. So let's just put that back there. We'll have this like this. So there we go. Let's test our theme out first, and we can say red. There we go. So that is working on the new system. We can set any kind of theme we want. Okay. Slash theme indigo. Okay, beautiful. So now we just need to test that, like when we send messages. Oh, we can send messages. So, and this wouldn't be working unless like we were actually logged in there. Let's see if we can actually change this. So remember, when we switch a channel, we were setting that back to 0. So let's see. So state, like when we say channel selection change, somewhere we set the array back to 0. So push message. So where did we? Yeah. So left, up, and down. If state, okay, channel state. I meant channel selection. So we have channel selection here. Oh, so okay, that's right. So we clear the messages by adding this message here, and that'll be the only thing in the messages array, and it allows new messages to come in. So that's how that gets empty there in this one thing here. So when we switch a channel, you'll see that this message gets outputted and clears anything else that was in there. So it says what we were on and what we're going to, like, or what we're subbing to, and then where we're unsubscribed from was API dev. If I go back to API dev, those two will switch. Now we're subbing to API dev, and we're on something the full stack. That's that logic there. Now let's actually test this. So like, let's go to API dev. We'll launch our app over here. This is that. So let's go launch this here. And let's try and go to API dev and say hello world, right? Because in theory, we should see hello world over here, and we do. So we can zoom in on this, and then we'll say, like, what do you want, right? We're gonna see that here, and we'll see that over here. Okay, so let's try changing this channel full stack and say goodbye. We're going to see that here, but we should not see that over here because we're not on that channel. So if I come down to that channel, type in here, we should start to be able to talk again. Okay, so that's really it. There we go. We set our theme now over here to let's see what they got. Just test out another theme in the Radix colors. We'll do tomato, like slash theme tomato. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So there you go. So now everything is pretty much done. The last thing we actually have to test is running this in a WebSocket to see if our WebSocket will actually render this. So let's actually do that, and that will finish this entire thing of stuff. Yeah, so this is done. So let's switch over to the I had the web app open here, so that's in the front end. Where's our, oh, this is in the back end. So we can, let's go Control R here. So there it is. Let's go check our WebSocket. And what we want to do is change this to, we'll say node. Instead of running bash, we're going to say node. And then we're going to change this to mic drop. So we're going to actually try to run our app, our newly created thing, and see if it renders. okay, because our WebSocket's all set up. We've patched this up a little bit. So all we have to do now is we'll cd to our backend and run our WebSocket right on the new system running. It's apparently going to serve this now. So let's actually head over to Mike.the and see if it actually renders our terminal app. And it does. There it is. So that is it. That is the full series. We did it. It works. Little challenge though, like for some reason, even though this version works 20,000 times better, and even though let's set the theme on this one red, like yeah. So there you go. So now the system we all just developed is exactly the same as that system there. Um, One thing is, see this cursor bouncing around, like with these re-renders and things like that, and changing, like it's redrawn the screen. And normally when we run that in here, this is just the last thing, like on our system here, you don't see it because in our code, remember. So this will be a little challenge to figure out. It's a very small minor bug and it doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like to see the cursor jumping around, but what we do is in our terminal, we're actually setting the terminal, we're clearing screen move cursor, we're hiding that cursor, and that's why it works on our terminal, so we don't see that cursor jumping around. But for some reason, and it worked with the previous one that was, I actually thought was crap. For some reason I didn't see the cursor with that one, but with this new one I do see it, and I'm not exactly sure why, even though we're telling our app to not show it. So I leave that one with you, but I hope you enjoyed this series. If you like this kind of stuff and you want to see where we can take this, because I think there's like a framework to build other TUIs, and I have a lot of other ideas right now. But let me know. Hopefully you liked it. I thought it was a fun one.